really want to see this multi-chain world come together. So we're going to be talking with the professionals in this space, which is the people at Darwinia Network who hold and operate a bridging network as their parachain, and really explore the details of that and how that actually can propel NFTs and gaming. Right? It's always been a long life dream if you're in Kusama to be able to do this kind of thing, or in Polkadot Eco as it is. It's a big goal of ours. So yeah, let's go ahead and start by introducing Dustin and Megan. Give us a little bit about your background and then what you guys are currently working on Darwinia Network. And you can start off by telling us a little bit about Darwinia for those that might not understand what the Bridging Network really does.
Sure, I guess I'll go first. Thanks for having us on the show. So I'm Megan, and I work primarily with the Darwinia project. Of course, we've got a number of different projects at Ittering under our umbrella, like Darwinia, Subscan, Helix Bridges, and also Evolution Land. So some of us are multidiscipline. As you can see, Dustin is here mostly representing the Evolution Land side. So I come from a background, I got into Bitcoin in around 2016 and started running some Bitcoin miners. And as I learned more about blockchain technology, I shifted over to Ethereum and then learned about the important differences between Bitcoin as a kind of UTXO monochain and Ethereum, which adds the scripting and programmability on top of that. So I got really excited to see this technology progressing. And then, of course, that led to Polkadot, which is almost like I would call it an Ethereum 3.0 or something like that. But yeah, I was really excited to hear about, forkless upgrades and other cool technology built into Polkadot and XCM, etc. And then I got involved with the Darwinia project starting in around 2020 after I sold all my Bitcoin miners and moved into validation. So I operate validators on the Darwinia Network, and I'm also part of the council. And after I'd been with Darwinia for a little while, helping out in the community, I was invited to join them as an employee of Ittering Tech. So have been with them for a couple of years now. And yeah, we're celebrating our mainnet launch now. The second birthday of our mainnet launch, sorry. So yeah, we're 2 years old now for Darwinia mainnet, and Crab's going on 2.5 years now. So we've got independent chains as well as parachains that all work together and in order to facilitate this kind of cross-chain operability, which is what we specialize in.
Great, that's awesome. Yeah, Dustin, tell us a little bit about Evolution Land.
So a little bit about myself. My name is Dustin Lee. I'm originally in the e-commerce space, distributing electronics. And then I got into Bitcoin in 2017. Of course, I've heard about Bitcoin early on with like Cyprus bank run and some of the kind of complications in the banking system. So I've always kind of aligned myself in the financial industry. But in 2017, I got involved with Bitcoin. Then I started learning more about NFTs and metaverses and virtual property. In 2018, I got involved with the project Evolution Land, which is where we're at now. And then kind of going through Evolution Land, I learned about Kusama, and so Darwinia was born out of Evolution Land using the cross-chain technology, kind of a broader ecosystem use case. And then Darwinia started building on Substrate, which kind of brought me into the .sama space, learning about Kusama and all the various projects that first started out building on Substrate. And then as of 2021, I was really close to the project, more so just because there's more things involved. And then as of the beginning of this year, I got hired on for Ittering Tech on the Evolution Land side of business development. And with Evolution Land is a cross-chain metaverse game that has built to up to 26 continents, which it represent a chain. Currently on 5 chains: Polygon, Hiko, Tron, Ethereum. and Crab, which is our canary chain that's connected to the substrate. We have an EVM to substrate chains that are interconnected. But Evolution Land is going to be a metaverse game that has an application layer for dApps to be built on. You could currently deploy those on top of the land itself, but we're currently having our PvP battle of Postal Arena. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think Lim has a couple questions here.
Yeah, sweet. Megan, Dustin, thanks for those introductions. If we could just I guess back up just for a second. Obviously, the main flagship here being Darwinia. I'd love to get into maybe some more details about Evolution Land and then Crab, but in terms of the networks and the applications that they're offering. But can you all just talk maybe just very macro picture about what Darwinia is for people that that aren't super familiar, I guess, with the protocol, and what the goal and function of Darwinia, and then why, and why, when did the idea come along, and why was it I guess brought forth by the devs?
Great question. So, like Dustin mentioned, Darwinia was born out of the need for Evolution Land to support cross-chain interactions. There wasn't really a great solution at the time that Evolution Land started out for getting assets between chains. So Darwinia decided was founded as an interoperability protocol designed to support multiple blockchains. So we're a kind of generalized solution that's programmable, that works like a kind of layer 0 or infrastructure layer for dApps that wish to have cross-chain features.
Yeah, gotcha. Now, what is your response usually to people? Because I had a conversation with Enrique about this as we were researching for the interview. What is your response usually to people when they say well, I thought Kusama and Polkadot, the relay system, I already thought that there was already interoperability here, I guess, on the relay chains. What is the difference there, and how do you describe that to people simply?
Definitely. So we're actually really similar to Kusama and Polkadot in terms of XCM. Actually, we're comparable along the same kind of layer 0 or infrastructure lines, and similar to Cosmos IBC. So Darwinia has a interoperability protocol called LCMP, which is the Light Client Message Protocol. That allows decentralized and trustless communication between chains. And we do take security first. So that's why we operate at the lowest levels of the stack. And that's just like XCM. So Kusama and Polkadot have a network and a system of clients that are built right into the parachain system. So new parachains that get added to Kusama or Polkadot support this kind of native cross-chain operability that's built on XCMP and uses XCM as the protocol language. So Darwinia is that works inside the Polkadot ecosystem and will eventually work outside the Polkadot ecosystem. But what Darwinia does is we're designed to be the kind of gateway so that projects within the Summit ecosystem can use XCM to speak to projects outside. So we operate like a primary in-out point of the Polkadot ecosystem. And what Darwinia does is abstracts away all the protocol translations and language translations that happen in the background. So if you're a Substrate developer, you can use Substrate and XCM to talk to Ethereum and Solidity, and vice versa. If you're on an EVM chain, you want to talk to Polkadot, you can use Solidity to do that. So Darwinia takes away all the complicated bits and all the routes. So you only have to specify your destination chain, even if there's 3 or 4 hops along the way. So yeah, Darwinia is designed to make it really simple to get in and out of the Polkadot ecosystem.
That's awesome. And so to follow up with that question, with all the bridging acts that's been going on, in just the last couple months, obviously security and chain security is a big deal. And we already know how Polkadot offers a lot of security in terms of consensus and all of that. How does that tie in? How does that security tie in, or is another method of security tie in to the bridging that Darwinia offers? If you were to go from EVM to then substrate.
Polkadot's system of light clients, what's most important about it is that it's secure. Light clients and header relay systems basically remove all the custodial bits from the bridge. So you only rely on the security of the source and destination chains. And that's what Darwinia does as well, but also like Cosmos IBC header relays and also like near Rainbow Bridge header relays, for example. The big difference is that it's non-custodial system versus custodial, which the majority of the bridges we've heard about that have been hacked recently, like Ronin, for example, Wormhole, these are custodial systems. So very, very easy to implement these custodial, like off-chain validation systems, but you're adding additional trust assumptions, which you don't have to do with light client and header relay systems.
Oh, okay. So you basically negate that kind of attack vector of the bridge itself holding or custodying the asset, I guess, and then wrap or like presenting you with a wrap version of that.
Exactly. Well, we still lock assets on one chain and mint them on another, but the big difference is there's no external validators. So all the like verification and finality happens on source and destination chains. There's no middlemen in a light client and header relay based system.
That's really, really cool. And so now, man, bringing it all together in this case, when you talk about, a lot of us are very interested, specifically, in NFTs being remarked in gaming. Conversation that me and Dustin were having previous to this is like, how have you guys implemented this with Evolution Land? Because Evolution Land is a multi kind of game chain, but are they interoperable in terms of like, can you go from the Polygon network into the Ethereum network? I mean, they're basically on the same thing, but I know you guys have Tron, I think, and some other ones you mentioned earlier. How does specifically does that work, and how could that be used, for example, for us to take a substrate-based game into an Ethereum-based game? Very much like we do now with Moonriver, being this ecosystem within Kusama, but it's EVM, where a lot of other chains here are substrate based.
So Evolution Land is designed to support the cross-chain interactions, and we've rolled out the game to 5 different chains already. But the actual gameplays are still under development. So when Darwinia's light client-based bridge goes live to all these other EVM chains we intend to support, like Binance, Polygon, Hiko, etc., then those gameplays will go live. But as it is right now, Darwinia's light client technology is actually still in the like launch stages. So we're going to be seeing some of the first major routes, including ones between Moonbeam and Moonriver and Ethereum, coming out in the next 30 to 60 days, is the estimate from our devs. So yeah, the cross-chain gameplays for Evolution Land will be expanded upon as the months go by and into next year. And so we're looking forward to seeing some of those, but they're not supported right now. I think Dustin will be able to talk about the bridges that were in the game early on.
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to add that the current gameplay right now with Apostle Arena, we've aggregated all our NFTs, our apostles, from all the chains. So they're all aggregated currently to Polygon. I'm trying to talk to the team to work on some Moonriver interactions in that aspect, but of course, it's got a lot on our plate here. But yeah, originally we did have a proof of authority, I believe, a POA bridge from Ethereum to Tron. That was our first interactions with cross-chain. That was with the fungible tokens, of course. NFTs, of course, in the space, NFTs are really hard to bridge in the sense of security. And most are custodial based, so we've taken our time, of course, on the Darwinia side to really build that security aspect of NFTs. But that kind of goes with our bridging already, so that would kind of go hand in hand once that is online and all the routes are kind of in place. But we still have to configure it properly for the NFT side. Fungible tokens are different, but yeah. So currently, yeah, we have the Ethereum to Tron, and then once our bridges are open for the Tron side, we'll be able to open for the fungible assets. And then I would believe that the non-fungibles would kind of follow suit. So,
So
but yeah.
I guess, Dustin, building off the just evolution land generally, if we could just back up just for a quick second, can you just give like a little bit of background of like, so it sounds, and I didn't realize this, so it sounds like evolution land came first before Darwinia. Like, how did that process, like where did the idea of evolution land come from, and like what did that evolution look like before, I guess, Darwinia and Crab?
At least to my knowledge, I don't know the exact history per se when it comes to like the team's vision. But I know that specifically the team was like on the like from the blockchain space originally, building on projects like BitShares, which was like the first decentralized exchange. And then kind of just like cross-chain interactions, I would think, just like nobody was doing that. Nobody had like a lot of these implementing like built-in dexes in their projects in 2018. It was just unheard of. NFTs and virtual property were very new. But I would say just like, so the project originally started in 2018. And yeah, Evolution Land was the first original project in the iterating brand per se. But yeah, so the grand vision, to my knowledge, is the cross-chain interaction and interoperability that we all want, but it was envisioned very early on, especially with like our co-founders being in the blockchain space since 2011. So they know that we don't need siloed blockchains, and dexes and interoperability. Like this is all like hand in hand when it comes to the space. And yeah, so I don't know exact answer.
Gotcha. So Evolution Land was like along before the idea even started to, like, I guess, like enter Polkadot, and Darwinia was that, I guess, entrance into Dotsama.
Yeah. So that was kind of the grandiose vision, I guess, in that sense, was that the interoperability was kind of stifled compared to scalability when it comes to like Polkadot. And so we had an event with Gavin Wood in 2019, I believe. It could be 2018, but in 2019, we had an event with them, and we pretty much pivoted to building on Substrate at that point with our Canary Chain Crab network.
Gotcha. So Evolution Land. So because my understanding is that there's a lot of different continents planned. Was it like 26 continents planned eventually with Evolution Land? But there's like 5 different chains with 5 continents right now, presently. Is that right?
Yeah. There's a set parameters that's already built in, like how much land is already like to be built. It's all set to be a certain number. But yeah, there's 26 continents, and there's, I believe, 2 larger continents that are going to come out for landmass wise. But yeah, currently we're on 5 at this time.
Gotcha. And that's Hecko, Crab, Polygon, Ethereum, and Tron. Is that right?
Yeah.
For now. And you said there's 2 more coming. Is that soon? Is that a little alpha leak?
No. I was just saying, like, out of the 26, there's 2 that are larger mass.
Okay. Gotcha.
No specific chains, but
Gotcha. Is there, I guess, a reason why these particular chains like are chosen or worked on right now? It's just like a development issue, or they're just easier to I guess build those relationships with those, and like which ones are going to get priority, I guess, in the short term?
Well, we transitioned to Hiko. So originally with Ethereum and Tron, of course, Ethereum being, the first, integration, but then, with gas and whatnot. So 2019 released Tron version, gas was a lot cheaper. And then Hiko 2021, it was just easy to implement, and also Hiko was Huobi based. Of course, China's had regulations since that point, but at the time it seemed like a good transition, at least for some of the newer gameplays we introduced. And of course, Crab was Columbus was kind of on our back burner, so that was our once Crab Network was fully capable to have an EVM chain and all that was routed together, then we're going to release that. So, and then Polygon was just more of like, in between, Ethereum and Polygon and kind of the ecosystem for EVM wise. And then, of course, Crab is our main chain. But yeah, future chains, we kind of just follow what the market sentiment is and also like development wise, if it's feasible. So EVM is obviously kind of where we're geared towards. So we've talked about BSC, of course. I've been trying to push the Moon River aspect, of course. Yeah, so I would say between BSC, Moon River, and some EVM other project, EVM chain, so somewhere around there.
So I'll just add that when Darwinia is selecting new chains and Evolution Land is selecting new chains to deploy on, we take the process of consideration quite seriously, and that's due to the difficulty of building light clients for various supported chains. It really it is quite a difficult thing to do, to develop all these light clients and header relays. And that's one of the reasons why we see projects like Darwinia and even Polkadot's XCM being delayed and under development for so long. When you take security as the number one most important thing on the network, it does take extra time to build a solution that's going to be that's going to fulfill those requirements. So generally, when we're looking at new chains to deploy Evolution Land on, and also support from Darwinia, we're looking at the total volume and the total value locked on those chains. So yeah, it goes a little bit according to popularity, and which is one of the reasons why you see blockchains like Tron and Hiko on our supported list. So so yeah, the difference between like clients and these other custodial based external validation kind of bridges is for every new chain you add with a light client, you have to build in the support for all the different routes to all the other chains. So every new chain you add requires more complexity of development. Whereas with custodial bridges, it's all very simple. You just add new chains into the mix and you're able to use them somewhat right away. But of course, the downside is when you're looking at speed of deployment and favoring that over security, you run into all kinds of other issues like what we've seen with Wormhole, Ronin, Poly Network, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and so I mean those are really, really important points because at the end of the day, where I like to see the NFT, where's the NFT market kind of at? And I'm not talking price. I'm talking where are we in terms of utility? So we can create PFPs that are very siloed in terms of communities, can be built on just one chain, but that's kind of it. You just have one community on one chain, and that community doesn't necessarily exist in other chains, right? You can't have like a community from Ethereum go and now be the same community, work with the same NFT on Binance. And so ultimately that would be a situation where we want to be in that kind of place. The other place that we're kind of seeing the NFT kind of evolution come in is we have ecosystems that are being built within NFT communities, which is I think, a really good aspect to what a lot of teams are currently building or aiming to build. I think we take the route in terms of what we want to see in terms of cross-chain capabilities, which Darwinia sounds like it would be an awesome evolution and solution to this. Is not only do we want the remark standard to be used holistically, for example, the EVM contracts that we're releasing soon, to be used all on Moonriver, right? All NFT communities within an ecosystem on Moonriver that are using the remark contracts will all be able to be integratable with each other. not having to come into my own kind of business and say, hey, we will integrate your community to us, but we're not necessarily going to integrate us to you guys. Like, it's not going to be cross compatible. Because that is a question, if I want to, if I want to bring in an ecosystem, I want it to be mutual and likewise, and I want to have the option to add multiples. But we also want it to be cross-chain. Not only do we want our NFTs that we buy on Moonriver to be represented on Moonbeam, right? But we want them to maybe be represented on Parallel Finance, for example. And so that maybe we can earn some yield or lend them or whatever the case may be that Parallel can offer there. And we want to give them multi-use, right? Multi-utility. And you can't do that without bridging. Bridging is such an important part of that.
Exactly. Yeah. So just to go back to like Darwinia's overall vision, our founders were involved with Bitcoin, from the early days, and also, worked on projects like BitShares, which is, I think, a Dan Larimer project, and also Charles Hoskinson was involved with that for a short while. But yeah, these siloed ecosystems present a kind of a problem. So of course, as evolution goes with blockchain, Bitcoin was kind of monochain. There wasn't any programmability. And then we moved on to Ethereum, which added that programmable layer on top and turned it into a virtual machine. And now we think we're going into the transition to the third generation of blockchain, which we believe will be cross-chain native. So yeah, Darwinia believes that this cross-chain functionality will eventually be built into all kinds of NFT projects, dApps, DAOs, etc. Yeah, and we're here on the ground level.
Yeah, and I like to take the vision of, we've never had the option to be cross-chain in anything else that we have when it comes to gaming, right? If you were a big World of Warcraft player and you like Blizzard, you could buy all the Blizzard products, but you couldn't necessarily take your World of Warcraft player into maybe the Diablo game, right? That they also developed, or the Warcraft game that they also developed. And so we're seeing now ecosystems. For example, let's take Blizzard. Blizzard builds an ecosystem within themselves. They're allowing now teams, or they're allowing players to now be able to do that, but you still have to accept a Blizzard kind of fine line, right? You would have to have Blizzard bring you into their umbrella and allow you to build within themselves, right? And so yeah, you can have ecosystems of NFTs that can be multi-playable, but again, people have to accept your ecosystem. They have to come to your chain, and we really want to create an ownership experience for people so that they can buy one game or one NFT and be able to play it on multiple systems, right? Whether it's PlayStation or Xbox or computer or the Wii, Nintendo, etc. Go back and forth, be able to represent your NFT and have the capability to move it cross-chain. And the Remark standard goes a long way into this, but again, it doesn't go into the multi-bridging aspect, which is where I think implementing this is very, very important, not just from an EVM perspective, but multiple languages, like you said, the back end work. And that right there, I think, is the evolution of where NFTs will eventually go. You see a lot of this in consumerism now, where people are kind of getting tired of having to buy multiple, Call of Duty games, for example. I think we're up to like version 13 or something. It's like they want one game that they can use multiple times in different ways and be able to move it wherever they want. Because that option has traditionally never actually been there, it is a concept that's not easily taught or easily brought up. But I do feel like that is the end goal, where you're going to have one community who might speak for a lot more communities, and that community in and of itself has value. And if you're an owner and participant in that community, you can bring a lot of value to other communities that might integrate with you parallel wise, but not just on one ecosystem, but on multiple, right? And so there's a lot of forward momentum in that space. But again, the groundwork, the subway system, if as an example, to be able to connect all of these chains together, not only do we want it to be solid and very secure, but like you said, with every new iteration or every new addition, you also have to add additions to other kind of connections. Do you see any benefit in having multiple like a Darwinia relay chain, or how does this XCM solve this?
So Darwinia actually does act like a relay chain, and we also support secondary parachains, if you would call them that, via Darwinia LCMP. So for example, like Crab Network can be thought of as a secondary parachain of Polkadot, because it connects through Darwinia and can access Polkadot. So yeah, we focus on interoperability inside and outside the Polkadot ecosystem, and support those parachains or independent networks on the lowest level of the stack. Like really, Darwinia is a layer 0, and we've been compared by various research institutes, so like Cointelegraph, to Cosmos, IBC, and also Polkadot XCM. So we're a very secure solution that works on the infrastructure level, and we take security very, very seriously. So being substrate-based chains, of course, we have the governance system built in. We have actually 6 different chains that are managed by DAOs. So we also have an independent relayer network that is a system of off-chain relayers. And so yeah, we've got a technical oversight committee. So there are multiple layers and kind of bulkheads in terms of security that work between Polkadot and Kusama, and other chains that we connect through Darwinia as the central hub.
Yeah, Megan, can you I guess go into the differences, I guess, between Darwinia and Crab then, just really briefly?
Sure. So both Darwinia and Crab are a system of networks. There's independent networks, there's the parachain networks, and then we've also got Darwinia Smart Chain and Crab Smart Chain, which are EVMs. And the reason we have all these different networks, substrate and solidity-based networks, is because we need to offer compatibility across chains, of course, between these dissimilar heterogeneous chains. So yeah, Crab is designed to be an integral part of the bridge between Polkadot and Kusama, but of course it also functions in a similar way as Kusama as a canary network, where we would hope to test and break things before those things get deployed to Darwinia.
Right. I think something important to highlight is that a lot of people don't understand that there currently isn't, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a good way to bridge from Kusama networks to, Polkadot networks like Moonriver to Moonbeam, right? That is not currently possible in terms of DApps talking to each other from one chain to the next, even though they're both EVM. And because they're on 2 different relay chains, one being the Polkadot relay chain, one being the Kusama relay chain, until XCM comes out and is able to, be able to do that, DApps aren't necessarily able to talk to each other. But is this something that this is the problem you guys are helping to solve, right, Megan?
Exactly. That's so what Darwinia was built to do, is act as a primary in-out point of the Polkadot ecosystem, and also as a gateway between Polkadot and Kusama.
Yeah. So, if you're talking about then NFT ecosystems, NFT ecosystems that evolve, for example, our Skybreach metaverse and the Canaria collection and the ecosystem between, but built within that, with Moonglade and Chunky's here coming soon. We want to be able to offer that in multiple ways, and have multiple teams or multiple chains be able to connect to that. And so I see Darwinia as an awesome opportunity for us to be able to do that maybe in the future. And I know Dustin has talked about waiting for EVM Remark to come out so that we can launch on Evolution Land and maybe have some simplicity there. But I guess my question is, how far are we from NFT communities from, for example, Moonriver, to connect to Moonbeam on a wide basis, where it doesn't have to be just a silo of like only this community can do that?
Before I touch on that question, I should jump in and add that it is possible to go from Kusama to Polkadot right now. It's just not possible to do it in a kind of decentralized and trustless way. So of course there are custodial bridges, but like I mentioned, Darwinia and Darwinia LCMP and Polkadot XCM work in a very different way that relies only on the security and finality of the source and destination chains. So yeah, it is possible, just not possible in a trustless way. And I'm sorry, what was your question again?
Yeah, I guess so. In this case, you kind of answered it, which is Darwinia adds that decentralized kind of process to be able to do that. So you don't have to build a backend yourself to make this bridge on your own, right?
So Darwinia acts as the layer 0 or infrastructure layer, and everything else is working on top of that. So it's really up to dApp developers to use our technology in order to build in these cross-chain features. It could be cross-chain borrowing and lending, cross-chain swaps, aggregating voting assets for DAOs across chains, and there are other use cases as well. So Darwinia is the infrastructure. Our Bridge app is managed by Helix, which is another project. So Helix is the dApp, and Darwinia is the bridge infrastructure. And similarly, DEXs on Moonbeam and Moon River are, well, at least on Moon River, they're able to use our software development kit in order to start building these cross-chain building in cross-chain features and assets right away. So we released our software development kit last month or the month before, and we're adding in new features all the time. But it is possible right now to create a cross-chain NFT market using Darwinia. Yeah, so definitely you can ask more about that if you're interested.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, and I know Yuri joined us earlier, and so they've been busy building Singular to be able to implement multiple chains, or Moon River, Kusama, all that, so that you can buy NFTs from multiple places all in one place, or from multiple chains using multiple tokens all in one place, connecting your wallet in that way. But
What's
it needs
great
to.
about Darwinia is, with Singular, they don't just have to build in support for multiple chains. They would also have to build in support for multiple currencies. But with Darwinia, because we use a kind of off-chain relayer network that handles gas and fees, you would pay for all your cross-chain interactions. You would pay the dApp for your cross-chain interactions, all in the token of the source chain. So if you're doing a trade on Moon River, for example, over to Moonbeam, you'd be quoted for all the gas and cross-chain fees in Mover. And the relayers will abstract away all the fees on Darwinia's side and also the gas on all the intermediate and destination chain.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, Yuri, pay attention to that, brother. Yeah, okay, so awesome. So I guess in this, switching it over is like we obviously see the pros for cross-chain messaging, and we've talked a little bit on the cons in terms of security, but what are some other challenges that you guys are kind of facing within this? And what you were talking about the differences between what XCM, what Gavin Wood is wanting to offer, and what you guys kind of already offer. Oh, here, let me add Yuri in here.
So the challenges are mostly about adding new networks into the set that we support. Like I mentioned, with Light Client, the complexity increases for every new network that's added because support and routes have to be configured for the new route, the new network that lead to all the other destination networks. So right now we're looking at about 3 or 4 week integration time for new projects. And that, I imagine, will start to take longer and longer. But by the end of the year, we should hopefully support around 15 to 20 networks.
Go ahead, Yuri. Follow up.
I don't have any follow-up, but I'm just wanted to add that Yeah, it's nice to abstract the payments into single currency, but in some cases, maybe this is actually what user wants. He actually wants different currency, not the chain's currency. So, yeah, there are pros and cons to this. I see great use cases for this abstraction, but sometimes maybe users explicitly won't receive different currency from a chain native currency. So this just needs to be fleshed out a bit, but depending on what's in better demand. But having this in .sum, of course, is very cool. There's so many cool use cases for this,
Yeah,
especially in a
likewise.
especially in a secure way, because so far all the solutions for this were kind of dodgy a bit, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you obviously see that what happened with Nomad, where you're trying to take funds from one chain to the other to be able to use in DeFi, and then the bridge itself gets hacked, intermediaries, etc. Um, okay, great.
Do Dustin, do you have a second to talk a little bit more about like Evolution Land, your conversations, I guess, with projects or protocols trying to build on Evolution Land? Like, what is the ideal, I guess, project to build on Evolution Land, and what is that process? I know you mentioned about like land on specific continents. What does that process look like for deciding like, okay, this is the continent that works best for my project, and like this is what it could offer people building on it.
Um, so I've been focusing on more infrastructure aspects like marketplaces. Um, we introduced some perpetuals, and then also some type of like tournament base, aspect to it. So yeah, projects that could be beneficial or that we're wanting are, I guess maybe even more like on the blue chip side of NFTs, bringing them in our Apostle Arena to battle with us, or even in some Sama projects as well, especially for, going to be integrated with like Moon River in the future. That would be really cool to see, EXO or like Moon Sama in battling, or Canaria, or like projects like that. RMRK, in Evolution Land, obviously that would be an amazing integration. But
Now,
just
yeah. So are you
go
saying
ahead.
that the, I guess, advantage, like if Exosama or Canarias, or if you want to even say like Ethereum, like Bored Ape or CryptoPunk, like that Evolution Land could be like the funnel, a place where you could bring all those NFTs to I guess play on other games or other metaverses, like through, like, is Evolution Land kind of like that hub and portal for all those sort of info gameplay?
Yeah. Yeah, that would basically just be like an aggregation of all the projects into a metaverse kind of aspect into Evolution Land. So yeah, it'd be great to see all these various projects, and even the interoperability extends to beyond just Sama. So everybody is welcome as long as there's some type of like mutual standard. Especially if RMRK is like a standard, we can just utilize RMRK, within all the ecosystems into Evolution Land. So yeah, very
Gotcha. Now,
possible.
so, and then Apostle Arena is just like the I guess example prototype of what you could do, sort of, or like what is Apostle Arena, and like what's the general purpose of it?
Postal Arena is our PvP battle system. So we introduced other NFTs into our battle system. So kind of just showcasing more utility with other projects, or either, if it's just a PFP project that you can use to battle with, or various other projects or PvP that we can even bring our NFTs in there, or vice versa, to battle with us. It is a good way to showcase, communities to kind of resonate with each other, and kind of showing what we can do, capable of more than just stagnant pictures. And then also, so community driven essentially in that aspect.
Gotcha. Now, when I was actually trying to use that, like trying to work through the protocol, it looked like it had given me a character, but then
Uh-huh.
when I actually got into the arena itself and the battle, it like I ended up fighting another character that didn't look like my character at all. Right? It looked like it's from like a different metaverse or a different blockchain, maybe. And it surprised me. But what you're saying is that is the general purpose, that you're trying to bring NFTs and PFPs from all different ecosystems all in one place to fight on like one standard of rewards, I guess one ranking system, sort of.
Yeah, in my mind, like the interoperability aspects of Apostle Arena being kind of like Wreck-It Ralph, you know, like you can
Gotcha.
enter all these other aspects of metaverses into one kind of centralized area. Yeah.
Okay, the central station, and
Yeah.
that's really cool. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So I guess what is it strictly play to earn then? Are they earning like Evo tokens or Evo land? And also, like, can you talk a little bit about the tokenomics of the evolution land generally, like, and how if a project wanted to get onto evolution land, like, what does that look like, and how would they do that?
So yeah, I'll touch on Apostle Arena first, and then our overall token. So yeah, in Apostle Arena, we do offer incentives with our ranking system. So you have to get a ticket first, and the ticket does cost some to access. But once you do so, the Apostle Arena does give rewards, and also other projects have been working with us to give us rewards as well. eFun is a perpetual project that we have been working with to determine battles and who's the winner of the seasons. So we're going through these seasons. We're in season 2 now, which is about a 3-month interval. But yeah, we do offer, you know, rewards in the sense of tokens, fungibles, some non-fungibles depending on the promotion that we're offering at the time. And that's usually given either in the ring token, or no, previously it was USDT. So yeah, we're offering, I believe, stable currencies, and then the tokens offered from the projects themselves. And then also just to mention, so ring token, that's our Darwinia Network ring token, is our token in Evolution Land. So we utilize the ring token across all our projects, including Darwinia. And Crab has its own token, the Canary token, Crab token. But we used it as our main token for Evolution Land. That includes purchasing land, if it's apostles, if it's breeding, dating, buy, sell, rent, date, kind of just like all the gambits of the gameplay, LP and whatnot. So, but yeah, the use case is pretty broad. You know, I'd say Evolution Land is just like our showcase for the use case of for a ring, but then also governance and Darwinia and whatnot. So.
Yeah, so I guess there's a really cool implementation where, you know, once Remark EVM comes out, Canarias get migrated over to EVM. You guys implement Remark Standard, and then possibly Canarias could then be playing in Apostle Arena. So I could be using my, you know, original Canaria to be battling in you guys' arena.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, we would be able to aggregate, you know, essentially Moon River projects into Apostle Arena once we have deployed on there. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
and that,
possible.
I guess
and
under that framework, then what would you think there could be I guess integration of like composability or equipability in terms of like bringing on items, because like the opportunities seem like really cool, and almost endless. It feels like, but is that the goal of Apostle Arena, to be able to like implement even, I guess, composability long term, and then integrate that into the battle system and points and skills and all this?
Yeah, so you mentioned composability. Actually, the project originally we introduced composability very early on, in that sense, because our characters are upgradable in a sense. So weapons have been introduced in the last year. Previously, we had upgradability for our props, which are like drills and whatnot. So we've been able to combine fungibles and non-fungibles together. But yes, that would be fantastic to see, like an RMRK integration with you know, some upgradability in that sense. But yeah, we pretty much just combine what we've already envisioned for ourselves with the RMRK standard, which would be, just it'd be exactly what we would be transitioning into essentially. So I would love to see that.
Yeah, and the importance of this is that, the remark standard allows multiple communities to then be able to be bridged using the technology you guys offer or will offer in the future. It's something that could be being built towards, but then all of those communities are also, composable and can be used to maybe switch items, could be used in the future to be switch items in and out, right? You can't necessarily do that with ERC 71155 or even the ERC 721s. That's a really cool proposition, and I feel like that's where NFTs and gaming is headed. And you're going to need technology. You're going to need solid bridging technology that is decentralized in a way that multiple people can use it. But you also need a standardized, decentralized protocol for NFTs to be able to allow all of this to happen. And that's ultimately our goal. There's a lot of solutions to this. You would say, like, once the remark palettes come out, doing something like a Ventus or a Juna, uh, implementing the remark palettes in their own protocol or in their own parachain, they can now create NFTs all built with remark, and now those ecosystems built on top of those networks could be interoperable and multi-composable. But now you're even saying that using the tech that you guys would offer, not only would they be interoperable and multi-composable on their own ecosystem, but they could bridge cross ecosystems or cross parachains with the bridging technology you guys are offering, right? And that would be something that would come in the future, could be built out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Megan can add to the interoperability aspect, but yeah, of course, just having some type of set standard in the space is very important because we're all kind of siloed in some, if it's ERC this or whatever other standards other projects are building too, is that we're all kind of just, it's a mix match of standards, and we need something we can all just build on. That's kind of the grand vision of a multi-chain, cross-chain ecosystem. Is just it becomes a standard. We want to go from point A to point B without knowing what point A and point B is. If I'm just a general user of these projects, like in the back end, RMRK could be the standard. Darwinia could be using its routing and interoperability to transition all these NFTs or fungibles without having the knowledge behind it. And that's kind of like the bigger picture here that we want.
Are you guys by any chance working with Astar and Shidden with Wasm?
Not sure what I can say here.
For those who are following, democracy and proposals on various parachains, may notice that we have some ongoing proposals with Astar and Shiden. So yeah, it's in the works. And remark compatibility for Evolution Land and Moon River support is definitely on our radar. Actually, we made an announcement about it earlier this year.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I guess, something to look forward to is that I would love to see some, we were talking about Evolution Land in the Apostle Arena, but how cool will it be to have like the Chaos Apes, the Canary Network, the Moonsama community, and Canarias all duking it out in the Apostle Arena, battles. I think that's like a really fun prospect where you build,
That could be
you
huge.
bring communities together, right? And you start, we create our own Pokemon, and we might call it like the Kusamamon, right? It sounds crazy, but that is something that we're building, and we're looking forward to that vision, bringing it together so that we can all have fun in our own various ways, right? Um, they
And that
they
honestly could
really,
be a huge selling point for the ecosystem as a whole.
yes,
We're
because
struggling to get sunlight, compared to other ecosystems, other blockchains. That in terms of if there was one place you could build and there was already infrastructure and gaming in place, to just go ahead and release those NFTs, that could be a huge selling point and be already interoperable with an entire, I guess, ecosystem of other players without it all being siloed in one place. And then I guess too with the security of LCMP, I think that's really interesting because obviously the $600 million on with the Ronin hack, which is a huge, I feel like huge marketing blow to NFTs as a whole, because there's so much attention with Axie Infinity and Ronin, that just kind of puts a big, a big, I guess, nasty splotch on the entire ecosystem. But knowing that we have that kind of security here, man, I wish that would get more attention.
Yeah, I mean, it just offers not only a whole new avenue for value to pile in, but it offers services where now you yourself you buy one NFT that represents you in multiple ecosystems. I think that is the true value point. And using the remark multi-resource function, your canary bird could look completely different. Like it could be a boxing canary bird on Apostle Arena, right? It could look completely different in the Canary Agency, where it might look like a secret spy agent, right? These are really awesome opportunities, and I think that is the grandiose vision that we ultimately have at Remark, is to be able to have this multi-composable standard that can be used on multiple chains. But we need the bridging chain. We need the bridging tech to make that a reality. And I'm so glad that we were able to host you guys. Obviously, the talk is coming to a close. We've been here for an hour. I'm gonna allow to open the floor for a couple questions and some closing remarks. Go ahead, Yuri.
Hey, yeah, sorry for my Darwinia ignorance, because I'm not too deep into how exactly you work, but I was just wondering, of course, you focus on primarily focus on bridging, on demonstrating capabilities of your bridging tech on what's in demand, for example, fungible tokens. And then, yeah, I guess something like simple NFTs can be added also easily, but with things like Remark, where it can get quite more complex, I guess someone will need to build a specific specific code on top of your tech to bridge them, because there is like, you need to bridge whole tree. For example, if you transfer the parent NFT and it has many nested NFTs in it. So is the SDK open so anyone can build on top of it, or what would it take for you to build it, for dedicate any of the resources to it? How big Remark would have to be for it to be a viable option for you to spend resources on, for example? So just wondering, because it won't just work out of the box, as I understand, of course, because there is, it won't just magically work. So there's a specific code for a Remark standard specifically. For example, I'm not talking about Remark as is right now on System Remark, but I'm more talking about pilot version or the smart contract version, for example.
So in terms of developer support, I mean, Darwinia is, like I mentioned, mostly focused on the infrastructure layer. So, having support for RMRK NFTs, if it requires some customization of the chain, that might be something that we would put on our roadmap, but not in the immediate near term. I think it would be more up to, outside of the infrastructure, more up to projects to support RMRK and then build in the cross-chain support they need using our SDK. So one of the best things about Darwinia is you can have a single smart contract deployment and then build in features and assets that you want from any of our supported chains. All it requires on the destination chain is a smart contract to govern access control. That's basically it. So yeah, I think you're getting into something that's a little over my head with the technical stuff when it comes to supporting RMRK across chains. But I know our independent solo chains have supported RMRK since the beginning.
Sounds like a cool hackathon project for someone. So if the SDK is open to anyone to build on with, then once our palettes are out, this sounds like a cool hackathon project that can
Yeah,
be
it sounds a
rewarded.
lot like we have the A and the C, but we really need that B, you know?
Yeah, I guess as we wait for if there are other questions that trickle up, I guess Megan or Dustin, what is the best way, best way for people to get, I guess, connected with like the marketplace, or where they can get, I guess, Dustin, you're talking about the ring token, how they can actually access Evolution Land. Like what do you usually recommend to people?
So yeah, I'll start with the Evolution Land side of things. So you can go to evolution.land. That is our landing page for our website. And also you can go to evolution_land at Twitter, Evolution Land 9 on Telegram. For the ring token itself, check it out, Darwinia ring token on CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap. We're on various exchanges like Huobi, Gate.io, and MEXC. Of course, we talks with other projects as well to be on their exchanges. And also DEXs, hopefully will be particularly, I think we've been talking to like Solar or who else are we on? Hopefully we get Uniswap on there, some type of version. But yeah, we have SnowSwap, which is on our Crab Network chain, Crab Canary chain. So you can exchange ring tokens there, and then of course utilizing our Helix bridges to send ring tokens, as well as our Canary tokens, Crab, and our commitment tokens, Katon, which is committing our ring tokens 10,000 to produce one Katon token. So we didn't even talk about Katon, but that's a whole other aspect. But Katon tokens, CKton tokens are commitment tokens. So we have actually 4 main tokens. And then there's various resource tokens as well for Evolution Land. So yeah, Megan, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Sure, well, definitely give us a follow at Darwinia Network on Twitter, and same on Telegram, where you can find lots of useful information. We've got a Discord, or we're also on Subsocial and Reddit. So yeah, give us a follow if you can. And ring tokens are basically available on all the chains that Evolution Land supports, as well as a select few centralized exchanges.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, so it doesn't seem like we have any questions kind of come up. I don't know if next couple more seconds we have some people asking me questions, but no, we appreciate you guys coming on here. Obviously, it's a very, very just fascinating idea to be able to have our own value and our ownership of our own NFT communities come together in a place where we can share experiences. You know, that is the Remark vision. And you guys are a big, proponent of that kind of connectivity of the multi-chain world. And, we commend you guys. It's obviously, after this talk, it's just blowing my mind in terms of how hard it is. I didn't ever think about, the integration of every added layer includes more complexity. And, I guess it makes sense now, but, in the back end, you're like, why can't this just work? And I feel a lot of us that aren't so tech savvy have that sometimes trouble connecting the dots when it comes to that. But obviously, just want to thank you guys for spending the time here with us and being able to talk through these complex ideas and concepts on a more easy to understand level.
Yeah,
and I appreciate your time.
yeah.
Thank you so much for having us here today. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Dustin and Megan, for coming on. I think ironically, even in the space where we really preach interoperability, that even just sometimes the understanding of information between ecosystems, between parachains, and like how they can actually work together, even even sometimes that information is lacking. So we really appreciate you all taking some time to help fill in some of those gaps. At least for me, that was really helpful for me. Dustin, I hope that actually maybe sometime in the future we can just have you on just for just an Evolution Land segment, and we can just get all the details about how to get involved and start battling on Apostle Arena all the stuff that y'all are building. So, but thanks for coming on.
Yeah, love to be on again for sure. Appreciate it, community. I noticed you guys didn't record this space, but I personally did record it, so I will be uploading it hopefully today. So
Thank you. Yeah, that was my
Thank you,
mistake.
sir.
When I said it, I forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah. Dustin, if it is possible, like even I guess throw it under the messages of that recording, or to put it on here. Just I guess some different links about how to get connected with Evolution Land and Crab and Darwinia. That'd be
Okay.
great for our community. So.
Sure. Yeah, I'll post our link trees and more information on how to get started.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Well,
Thanks,
thank you
guys.
guys so much. You guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming and joining our space, and we hope you guys learned a lot. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Adios.
Peace.
Thank you.